Returning home to truth. So today I want to start with a story from the Bible. And it's actually a recently discovered lost chapter of Genesis. And it goes like this. Adam walked into the garden and cried out to God, "You used to walk with me every day. Now I do not see you. I am lonely here, and it's difficult for me to remember how much you loved me." And God said, "I will create a companion for you that will be with you forever and who will be a reflection of my love for you so that you will love me even when you cannot see me. Regardless of how selfish or childish or unlovable you are and act at times, this new companion will accept you as you are and will love you unconditionally, just as I do." And God created a new companion for Adam. And it was a good companion, and God was pleased. And the new companion was pleased to be with Adam and wagged his tail. And Adam said, "Lord, I have already named all the animals in the kingdom, and I cannot think of a name for this new animal." And God said, "Because I have created this new companion to be a reflection of my love for you, his name will be a reflection of my own name, and you will call him Dog." And Dog lived with Adam and was a companion for him, and he loved him. And Adam was comforted, and God was pleased. And Dog was content and wagged his tail. After a while it came to pass that Adam's guardian angel came to the Lord and said, "Lord, Adam has become filled with pride. He struts and preens like a peacock. He demands praise and adoration. Dog has indeed taught him that he is loved, but perhaps too well." And the Lord said, "I will create for him a companion who will be with him forever and who will see him as he is. The companion will remind him of his humanness, so he will know that he does not always deserve praise and adoration." And God created Cat to be the companion to Adam. And Cat would not obey Adam. And when Adam gazed into Cat's eyes, he was reminded that he was not the supreme being. And so it came to pass that Adam learned humility, and God was pleased, and Adam was greatly improved. And Dog was happy. And Cat? Well, Cat didn't care one way or the other. So I actually do have a real biblical story for you this morning. It's also from Genesis, but this time it's actually from the real version, and it's in chapter 12. And unlike the previous story, it's actually relevant to our topic this morning, returning home to the truth. So remember, as I relay this ancient story, that biblical passages can have deep and rich personal meanings for us if we look beyond the surface. The Bible is a symbolic or metaphysical, in a metaphysical sense. It's the story of all of us, if we look at it that way. Everything in the Bible symbolizes stages of consciousness, our unfolding awareness of our connection to God. So the story I want to share with you this morning appears in Genesis chapter 12, and it's the story of Abraham when he was 75 years old. And God said to Abraham, "Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto the land that I will show thee, and I will make thee a great nation." And so Abraham and his wife and Lot, his brother's son, took their possessions and they journeyed to the land of Canaan. There they became rich. But the herdsmen of Lot and Abraham quarreled among themselves, and they had so many herds that the land was not able to support them all. So Abraham was a pretty generous guy, and so he gave Lot his choice of the lands. And naturally, Lot selected the fertile section, the plains of Sodom and Gomorrah. And well, of course, we know how that went, but that's a different story, and we're not going to go into that today. So today, we're going to go on with Abraham. So Abraham was left with the hilly country near Hebron. One day, Abraham was feeling pretty low. He was sitting in his tent with the flap down, shrouded in gloom, probably saying to himself, "I thought I was supposed to found a new nation, and here I am on a rocky hill with my old age upon me. My dream is gone. Oh, woe is me." Well, maybe he didn't quite say it that way, but he was feeling that, right? Then once again the voice of God was upon him and told the old man to come outside. And God said, Lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art. northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever." And suddenly Abraham was filled with life and vitality. Suddenly he saw the vastness of the sky. He saw that the world was bigger than the patch of ground on which his tent was pitched. He got a sense of far-off horizons. His soul revived. The old man went on his way and did found a new nation. As I said a moment ago, biblical passages have deep and rich meaning for us if we look beyond the surface. The Bible is in a personally symbolic sense, is truly the story of each and every one of us. And everything in it is about the stages of our consciousness and our unfolding awareness of our connection with God. Abraham represents our consciousness. Sometimes feeling connected, listening to that inner guidance, sometimes not feeling so connected, wondering where that inner guidance is, feeling alone. He did a good deed for his nephew by letting him choose the best land, after which he felt like he got the short end of the stick. And then he got depressed and he felt a little downtrodden, right? But in the long run, he stuck with God and he flourished. In other words, in the long run, he returned home to truth. The first important phrase in our Bible story is, "Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto the land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation." On the symbolic level, these words are saying that if we aspire to go to a new land, which means to attain a higher experience in life or higher level of understanding, we must be willing to leave the old. If we want our lives to be happy and full, if we want to do great things in the world, if we want to experience peace, joy, abundance, and harmony, we must be willing to let go of the lesser. In consciousness, we have to let go of what is not serving us. Let go of those small beliefs. Get thee out of the country. So here's a story that illustrates that idea beautifully. There was a cheerful little girl with bouncy golden curls, and she was almost 5. Waiting with her mother at the checkout stand, she saw them. A circle of glistening white pearls in a pink foil box. "Oh, Mommy, please. Mommy, can I have them? Please, Mommy, please." Quickly, the mother checked the back of the little foil box and then looked back into the pleading blue eyes of the little girl's upturned face. $1.95, that's almost $2. If you really want them, I'll think of some extra chores for you, and in no time, you can save enough money to buy them. Your birthday's only a week away, and you might get another crisp dollar bill from your grandma. As soon as Jenny got home, she emptied her little penny bank and she counted out 17 pennies. After dinner, she did more than her share of chores, and she went to the neighbor and asked if she could pick dandelions for 10 cents. On her birthday, Grandma did indeed give her another dollar bill. And at last, she had enough money to buy the necklace. And Jenny loved her pearls. They made her feel dressed up and grown up. And Jenny wore them everywhere. Sunday school, kindergarten, even in bed. The only time she took them off was when she was swimming or had a bubble bath. Mother said if they got wet, they might turn her neck green. Who said that happened? Jenny had a very loving daddy, and every night when she was ready for bed, he would stop whatever he was doing and come upstairs to read her a story. That's a good daddy. One night, he finished the story and he asked Jenny, "Do you love me?" "Oh, yes, Daddy, you know I love you." And Daddy said, "Then give me your pearls." "Oh, Daddy, not my pearls. You can have Princess, the white horse from my collection, the one with the pink tail. Remember, Daddy? The one you gave me? She's my very favorite." "That's okay, honey. Daddy loves you. Good night." And he brushed her cheek with a kiss. A week later, after a story, Jenny's daddy again asked, "Do you love me?" "Daddy, you know I love you." "Then give me your pearls." "Oh, Daddy, not my pearls. But you can have my baby doll, the brand new one I got for my birthday. She's beautiful, and you can have the yellow blanket that matches her sleeper, too." "That's okay. Sleep well. God bless you, little one. Daddy loves you." And as always, he brushed her cheek with a gentle kiss. A few nights later, when her daddy came in, Jenny was sitting on the bed with her legs crossed Indian style. And as he came close, he noticed that her chin was trembling and one silent tear rolled down her cheek. "What is it, Jenny? What's the matter?" Jenny didn't say anything but lifted her little hand up to her daddy. And then when she opened it, there was her pearl necklace. With a little quiver, she said, "Here, Daddy, this is for you." With tears gathering in his own eyes, Jenny's daddy reached out with one hand to take the dime store necklace, and with the other hand he reached into his pocket and pulled out a blue velvet case with a strand of genuine pearls, and he gave them to Jenny. He had them all the time. He was just waiting for her to give up the dime store stuff so that he could give her the genuine treasure. And this is not a story about sacrifice. This is a story that illustrates the fact that our greater experience cannot live in the same space as our lesser idea. Our greater experience cannot live in the same space. Our lesser idea must go so that the greater experience can come in. And that is a critically important part of our expansion in consciousness and in our experience. But it's just the first step. It's not the entire enchilada. The story of Abraham shows us that it wasn't enough. The Bible tells us that he became rich, but he still had his challenges. His herdsmen and Lot's herdsmen, they weren't getting along. They were squabbling over the land. So Abraham gave Lot his choice of the land and then felt that he was left with a plot of worthless land and soil. So just leaving the old country wasn't enough. He had to do more, and he was told what he had to do. "Lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art." And that's the most important phrase of this morning. Lift up thine eyes from the place where thou art. Look eastward, look westward, look southward, look northward. All the land that you see, I will give to you and your descendants. Look upward to higher truths. Once we return home to higher truths, once we make a commitment to seeing the far horizons beyond that which is in front of us, then we will truly flourish. So I want to give you 3 additional examples of people who stayed committed to the truth. Because theory is great, but when you see it actually happen to people and you know that what is true for them must be true for all. Because it's not, it rains on the just and the unjust alike. It's all for everybody. So what I'm going to talk about are 3 people that move from the miraculous to the lofty to the everyday. So here's the first example, the miraculous. So before every miracle that Jesus performed, whether it was making a lame man walk, raising Lazarus from the dead, or turning water into wine, he literally looked away from the condition, which is what we teach here in religious science. We look away from the condition, and he lifted his eyes and saw higher truth. Remember what he told us, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." So that's the first example. The second example is the lofty example. In December of 1892, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, founders of Unity School of Christianity, came to a point of decision in their lives. Out of the turmoil of illness and financial reverses, they'd been searching for understanding and had gained powerful insight into truth. They made at the time a commitment to truth. They even wrote it down and read it, and it read like this: "We, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, husband and wife, hereby dedicate ourselves, our time, our money, all we have and all we expect to have to the spirit of truth, and through it to the Society of Silent Unity. It being understood and agreed that the said spirit of truth shall render unto us an equivalent for this dedication in peace of mind, health of body, wisdom, understanding, love, life, and an abundant supply of all things necessary to meet our every want without our making any of these things the object of our existence." Ah, that's quite a pledge there, isn't it? To Charles Fillmore, this commitment was as dependable as the rising and setting of the sun. He claimed that truth demonstrates itself. We need not make demonstrations. We need only make a commitment to live in the divine flow and then keep it. Keep that commitment. And they did. They did. They made that commitment, and they experienced that. They made the commitment, they kept it, and they lived in the flow. And of course, Unity is a New Thought movement that's alive and well today. We think of them as one of our sister New Thought. We're inclusive. We teach many of the same, well, we all teach the truth. So that's the beauty of New Thought. So, and finally, the third example, and this is the everyday example. This is what could happen if we, when we look for these opportunities for us. A friend of mine and her husband were moving into a new home, and it was the home of their dreams. They hadn't sold the home out of which they were living at the time, and they were moving from that home. But this friend of mine, she lived in the place of connection with higher truth, and therefore she knew it was going to sell in the right and perfect time. I'm often reminded God's time is not always our time, right? So they busily and excitedly prepared to move, which is what you do when you live from faith. Moving day arrived, and moving truck was scheduled for 9 a.m., but at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon, it still had not arrived. Now, how many people would be furious about this at this point? Calling the moving company because they'd completely messed up your carefully timed schedule. I mean, I know that I expect things to happen on time, but she didn't do that. Instead, she lifted up her eyes to a higher truth, and she simply knew that the delay was a divine delay. And she kept herself busy cleaning the house and preparing for its next perfect owners. The divine delay actually lasted 5 hours. The movers were 5 hours late. But here's the glorious thing. At hour 4, unscheduled and unexpected, a couple with no realtor arrived at their doorstep, asking if they could look at the house. My friend and her husband welcomed them in amid boxes and chaos, but that didn't matter to the couple. They fell in love with the house, and if you probably already figured this out, they bought it. It was the divine delay. So has something like that ever happened to you? I know for Suzanne it has. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of interesting when things like this, and you just knew that it was all working out at a higher level. You didn't know how it was going to work out, but you knew it was because you just trusted. So whether you choose to create miracles in your life, manifest lofty goals and dreams, or simply have your day-to-day life work, return home to the truth again and again and again. It makes the way easier. So this morning, I'd like us to return home to the truth together. Is everybody up for that?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I invite you to take this pledge with me. It's an expanded version of our monthly affirmation. So why don't you stand and repeat after me. You can stay seated. That's fine. So, today I return home to the divine that I am.
Today I return home to the divine that I am.
Today I see.
Today I see.
Beyond appearances.
Beyond appearances.
In all situations.
In all situations.
Today I live.
Today I live.
In the flow.
In the flow.
Of God's rich abundance.
In God's rich abundance.
Today I return home to the knowing.
Today I return home to the knowing.
That God is my one and only source.
That God is my one and only source.
Today I see.
Today I see.
My oneness with all life.
My oneness with all life.
Today I return home to truth.
Today I return home to truth.
One more time. Today I return home to truth.
Today I return home to truth.
All right. You can sit down if you'd like. As you have personally returned home to these ideals, so it shall be, according to the commitment of your heart and mind. And with this commitment to return home, may you feel the Spirit moving in you. And so it is.
Yes.